All right, I'm back. That took a little bit longer than I expected because when I was upstairs getting some water, Sylvie came down and pressed the food button, and I'm legally required to respond to the food button whenever he presses it. So I gave him I gave him some more food, and he was super happy to get that. He looked like he was going to follow me back down here, but I don't think he did. So I can't really show him too much on stream anyways, because we're doing so many recordings. So that's another thing altogether. But let's see. We're continuing on. Okay, so Express CRUD project. We did the we did our spell check of this already, so we're good to go. Express CRUD project. We've created a simple Node.js Express project that we can use for example purposes. You can find it on GitHub at blah. Git clone this to your local system with git clone. Okay, blah. While this project requires Node version 20.x and a Postgres database, it is meant to be used in conjunction with Docker, so you don't need to have Node or Postgres installed locally. Before continuing on, please clone this project locally. You don't need to install Node or Postgres. I was worried that like people would actually just install it just to make sure it's working. I only want them to run this. Okay, so I guess I don't need VS Code like that. I do want to go to here to look at this. Okay, this is good. All right, Express CRUD project. And then we'll come here to look at the Express CRUD project. And then so we can just grab you. And then we'll come to here. Where do I want to put this? Because I actually have this cloned on my system. I guess I could put it on my desktop. I don't really like to encourage people to put this type of stuff on their desktop, so maybe do I have a scratch? I'll put it in Playgrounds. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Here we go. Express CRUD project. For the next section of this this course on Docker, we've created a Express CRUD project that we're being running as if it was something that we were developing or had maybe taken over as a project in our work. And we need to run this locally to get it running, to do things to it, or whatever we feel like. So we don't need to write the project ourselves. We already have it written up for us. So here we have this Express CRUD project here in the lesson contents. There's the URL to it. I'm going to go ahead and clone this project locally. So we copy you, switch to you. I'm going to go into my code, playgrounds directory and git clone u. All right, so this installs the Express CRUD project. We can cd into it. Now note that this project itself is written in Node.js. It requires Node.js version 20, and it also requires a Postgres database. That being said, there is no need for you to install Node.js or Postgres locally to run this. We're going to do all of it inside of Docker. And that's it. That's all we need for this specific article lesson. We're not really learning anything here. We're just prepping ourselves for what's to come. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. All right, simple enough. All right, what are we doing here? We mount, okay, so we mount a directory on our computer into a Docker container. And I think that's it. This is share code. Okay. Vinox, hello. How are you doing today? Will this be a free course? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna charge more than the SQLX course, but not like a huge amount. The free version, so to me, like the free tier is essentially going through the VODs here, since I am gonna put, since these VODs are gonna be on YouTube. Does that answer the question? Like, so yes and no? The actual like nice where you get the articles and like a nice where you can actually see and read through the articles on your own is going to be on the paid course. Right now, I'm thinking of like 25 or so US dollars. I don't necessarily have any market research on like specifically Docker courses for what this will be. So like maybe I might do a little bit of that once I complete it and then like adjust that accordingly. But like I know like some courses are like some people are charging for like, you know, various courses like $100 USD or so. And I don't think this is going to be that much. Yes, I can link to the SQLX course. I should create a command for that. But for the LMS itself, here is the SQLX course, which I'm charging $5 USD to. And then this same LMS, it's going to be just another course that I put in here. This is where the Docker course will be, that you can eventually buy it. It's not in there right now because I'm still like building it out. I'm going to have to upload all the things into it. And then you'll be able to purchase it. But yeah, so let's see. How is the payment process? Can you easily buy it from Germany with euros? Yes. So I use, my account actually owns it. I have two accounts that both own the course, so I can't actually show it off that easily. Plus also it might like show off my credit card information, which would be bad. I use Stripe as the payment processor, and I clicked the box to allow paying in your local currency, which Stripe claims that they have like 100 different currencies that they allow this in, and euros in Germany is absolutely, that's going to allow you to pay in euros and not have to pay in USD. Now it doesn't move down to like the equivalent of 20 in your local currency. It does the equivalent. So whatever, like if for example $5 is like, I don't know what it is, like let's say it's like 6 euros or something like that. I don't know what the exchange rate really is right now. Then it would be 6 euros for you. So it's still the equivalent to whatever $5 is at the moment that you purchase it. And of course, if there's a problem with purchasing, the best way, like there's several different ways to get in contact with me. I don't have like a help in here yet, but Discord is probably the best way right now. And I do have a link to Discord on the homepage to join the Discord community. And I even ask you to give me your Discord username so I can add you to like a course specific Discord thing. You have no credit card. They're not that common here. What way, if you could pay for it, what way would you choose? Because I certainly would not want, like if you wanted to purchase something, PayPal. Okay, I am going to add that in. Let's see. Add ability to use PayPal to purchase course. Okay. I have never worked with PayPal, and I don't even have an account. Or I think I have an account, but it was years ago, and it's not associated with Brooks Builds. So I need to do that. I'll have to figure out how that works. I know that a lot of people do have PayPal stuff set up, so it shouldn't be that hard. I just heard Zilby meowing a lot. I think he wanted me to go up to him and do something. Maybe play with him or hang out with him. Or maybe just, oh, hey, Zilby. You're here. We have Kitty Cat. Oh, absolutely, Venox. Glad to help out and answer any questions. All right. Are you just leaving now, Zilby? Oh no, he's gonna hang out with us. Okay. Well, we can have Cat Cam on for a little bit of time. I have to turn it off for the recordings though. Okay, so let's see, where are we? What's up? Yes. Is there anything interesting over here, Zilby? Usually when Zilby starts exploring like this, it's usually because he's hungry. But I just fed him, so I don't think it's that. He might be bored. That might be what it is. All right. I don't think we changed anything. I'm going to do a reload here anyways, just in case. Okay. Let's read through this and make sure it's what we expect. We're starting here. We're getting into a lot more interesting things. Oh, you want fun. You want fun. Hold on. I have fun for Sylvie. Can switch to except no break. What I like to do is put some of his toys and soak them in catnip. All right, you want this? Let him go play with that a little bit. Sweet cat. Sylvie is a sweet cat. He's been pretty awesome as a cat. If you go back far enough on the streams, you might, like from several years ago, you can probably see when he was a super young kitten. A cigar aficionado? I don't think I have anything that was the cigar stuff. Venox, thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And 2 months in a row. I thought that I had turned off to get the Twitch alerts. But apparently that's not the case. Oh, you thought you spotted a cigar box. No. Let's see, what do I have there? I have... I have a board game. I have the board game Seven Wonders Duel. Which, that is just sitting there. I can't remember why I had removed it down here. But that's probably the box you saw. It does have a cool design on it. I've smoked some cigars in the past, but I'm not really into cigars. I don't own any. Usually it's like when I go visit some people, if they have like a nice cigar, it's like, okay, I'll share one with my wife or something. But I usually don't like, I'm not a big cigar person. All right, I think Sylvie just walked away, so I think he's done. Okay, yeah, the box underneath the tissue. Yes, that's the Seven Wonders Duel box, which is a really good game. It's a 2-player Seven Wonders game, which normally, if you've ever played Seven Wonders, that's like a 12-person game or something. Maybe it's an 8-person game. It's a lot of people game, and it's a very long game. And the duel is like 2 people, perfect for couples. We like it a lot. All right, let's do this. Share code with a Docker container. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to mount a directory on our computer, so probably in your computer, and your computer into a Docker container. Content. This should be 1. It is possible to develop inside a Docker container, but also use your favorite code editor. We can do this by mounting a, I guess like R, then works. Use R. Yeah, okay. I can see it works. We can do this by mounting a local directory into the container when we create it. When creating the container, we can use the -v post dest option to mount a local directory to the destination directory inside the container. It doesn't matter if the destination exists inside the container. If it doesn't, Docker will create it for us. If we give the command a directory that already exists, then Docker will overwrite it with the mount. This will remove access to whatever was in that directory. Be careful that you don't put your mount somewhere important like /bin, which is where basic commands like the bash shell and ls are located. So okay, we have our Docker run, and we're putting things into /code. Note that we use a special shell command, the $pwd, for the first part of the volume. This syntax allows us to run a subcommand in a command, and it will resolve to its value first before the full command executes. We need to do this because the -v option requires a full path instead of a relative one. Since we so often want to share the directory that we are in when we run the command, we've used pwd. However, if you want to share another directory, then just put in the full path instead, like -v/usersbrooks, blah, blah, blah. Okay, to code. By default, the mount is read-write accessible from inside the Docker container. This allows us to run commands that will update files, add new ones, or delete them from the container. Be careful to only share the directory that you want the container to have access to. While it is possible to share your entire computer directory with the container, it is also asking for trouble, since the container could do things like delete everything by accident. You can read more about volumes at the official documentation. Applying this to the Express CRUD project. Let's apply this to the Express CRUD project so we can develop with this code. So I think we just apply this to the Express CRUD project like that. Since we already have the repo cloned, all we need to do is change directory into it and create the container and share the code. So we just do Docker run, we do the thing, and I do an ls to see the code. We can't run this since the modules haven't been installed. However, we're running this inside a Node.js container, so we have access to the correct version of Node. We can install them with the command npm i. Since we're inside the container, we also know that we have the correct version of Node for this project. Okay, so npm i install. If we open our editor of choice to view this code, we can see the Node modules on our system. This means that we can now use our editor to edit the code, but run it inside the container at the same time. Excellent. Am I using a tool to compile your Markdown in a presentation? No, I am not. What I am using is in the LMS, where the learning management system, where this runs. So that would be, that'd be this. Let me go ahead and log in. There we go. So if we go to our courses and I open up this course, all of these are just those markdown files that I have. And it is, what tool am I using? Marked or something? Is basically rendering the markdown as HTML on the front end. So it's happening in your browser. Does that answer your question? And fun fact, for those of you who didn't see, we built this entire thing on stream, which was a lot of fun. I guess like most of it on stream. I did some of it off stream. This is all written in U.rs. So it's all, this is a front-end framework in Rust. So Rust code in the browser, which is awesome. Okay, so I have VS Code closed. So what we're probably going to do, I want to see, I want to CD into the Express CRUD application. And so here we're going to do our Docker run command to connect in. And all I'm doing right now is the V command. So I'm not doing any of the ports or anything else. It's just gonna be the Docker run IT. Okay, so we're just gonna be creating a whole bunch of containers in the next couple of lessons, and it's gonna be fine. I'm probably also going to VS Code update. Yeah, we're gonna open this in VS Code too, and then do the commands from there. So it'll be fine. It'll be great. Let's see. So that's good. Let's go and set this up. All right. You know what? I'm curious for my desktop audio. What devices are you going out on? Where's my advanced? Okay, so desktop audio is going on. Oh, tracks. Okay, so if I just do everything but track 2, then you should still hear them when the desktop audio goes, but the recording won't. So if anything else happens, it won't be visually there, and then also at the same time, I will be able to hear it. You will be able to hear it, but the VOD and recording will not, which is nice. Okay. Excellent. Here we go. Sharing code with a Docker container. Now that we have the Express CRUD app installed locally, we want to start developing with it. But we want to like run it inside of a container, but also develop on it, which means that, well, and I want to use VS Code, which is obviously going to be outside of the container. It's going to be on this side here. Let me go ahead and open up VS Code in this project. So code, open you up. Now, let's imagine that I don't have Node.js installed. I'm going to go ahead and trust the authors here. Let's imagine that I do not have Node.js installed. I don't even know if I have the correct version of Node.js installed. It doesn't matter. I want all that to run inside of a Docker container for this application, which means we're going to have to create a container and then somehow share our code inside of it. And we can do that with the mount command. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a terminal in here, and we're going to run, let's make this a little bit more full screen. We're going to run Docker run. We're going to use IT so we can interactively connect with this. I'm not going to give it a name, so it's a random name because over the next several lessons, we're going to be creating new containers over and over again. And so that's going to be fine. And let's see, then we're going to give it a volume. So the volume is telling Docker to, basically, we're going to mount something inside of the container. And our choice is going to be another container, which we'll get into in a future video, or something from the host machine, which is what we want right now, which is this specific, well, the directory that we're in. And we can see our current directory is my home directory, code, playgrounds, express crud. Now, I can just replace that all with a sub command here, pwd. And this is really important. The $, just normal parentheses. That's how words work, right? And then where it's going to go, which in this case, I want it to go into just /code. I know that /code is a directory where nothing special is. If, for example, we put this into like /bin, where a lot of Linux commands are inside the container, it would overwrite those and replace it with my code here, which means that like things like ls would just stop working because they don't exist in there anymore, which is not great. That's not what we want to do. So please be careful with that. Now, the reason we have to do pwd here is because we have to pass it a fully like qualified path. Like it has to be like start from /. So in this case, it'd be like /home /Brookzerker /code /playground /express crud. This allows me to just have wherever my current working directory is, I do that. If you want a different directory and you're not currently in that directory, you can just give it the full path. Okay, and then the rest of the command is exactly the same. So I want to now run, this is going to be, Node.js. So I want Node, we want version 20. So we already, the tag want 20 to be that. And then we want bin bash to overwrite. So we just are inside the container. And another way, instead of just pwd, I can also replace this with dot to just be this one here. Okay, let's run this. We're unable to find Node.js locally. We don't have that installed, so it's going to go ahead and pull this image down for us. And once that's done, it will drop us inside. All right, and now we're inside of our container. Let's go and take a look at our code because we're currently in the directory / in the container. So I'm gonna cd into /code. I'm gonna ls, and here is all the files, and we can see these files match up here. All right, so that's great. By default, whenever we mount a directory into a container, it's gonna mount read write. This is really good because now I can do things like npm install, use the Node package manager to install all the packages that are required for this product. And because I'm in the Node.js image, I know I have the right version of Node. So let's go ahead and get that running. So npm I for install. And we also see immediately that Node modules get set up for us here in like the real world, in our actual system. So a command inside the container affected our disk drive out here. So something to be aware of, and this is why you should never mount like your entire disk drive into a container, even if it will make things like a little bit easier, just because you don't want your containers to have access to everything. What if you accidentally did an rm-rf? You can do that for fun in a container, but if you're mounted something in there, bad things can happen. And that's, let's see. I think that's it, everything we got. We have mounted our local well, directory into the container. We've run it, we're connected in, and then we have access to all of our files. And if we want to make changes to them, we can change them either out here or we can change them inside the container. So that's an excellent, it's an excellent way to be able to develop inside of a container while also, well, having our editor outside the container, like VS Code. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Zorzor, hello. Or I guess it's XOR. How are you doing today? And also thank you for that. I didn't realize that you can do dot. That must be a new thing. So let's update our article. So first of all, I want to do something like, I think I do 3 lines like that. There's a horizontal rule. So thanks for XOR for letting us know that we can use dot instead of the full. Okay, so somewhere in here. Okay, so can also recently Docker updated so that we can use dot instead of a full path if we want to mount the current directory into the container. All right, I want to just grab this. Much simpler. Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to. If you have like a Twitter or something, I'd be happy to also put that as a link for you. Otherwise, it'll just be Zorzor or like Twitch user Zorzor. Sometimes I don't know like how to do that, or like what the standard should be. I'll have to figure something out for that. But community is like a really big like thing to me. So now if like somebody purchases this course and you're like, oh, you're Zorzor, you're XOR, they'll like know that you helped out with this. Okay, so that's it. We're good to go. This was 0447. Wait, at Rumpel is my Twitter, and you were the one who implemented the dot for volumes? Oh, awesome. That is great. I think I've only met one other person that I know I've met who was on, like, worked on Docker. So thank you for that. That's a really good feature too. How was it working on Docker? I've only really like done Docker as a user, as it were. Well, wait, I shouldn't, this doesn't make any sense. It's, oh, come on. This, Do I have to log in just to see? No, that's not Rumple. Was that it? Like, I hate that. Working on Docker is great, but also with the amount of users, it can be scary sometimes. You can easily break people's workflows. Yeah, I can absolutely imagine that. Okay, that was okay. So I think that's how it works, right? It's just Twitter, yes, twitter.com/Rumple. Okay. If that doesn't work later in the future, I will we'll have to fix that. But I don't have edit abilities. I have to edit in the database manually if I have to update the course, because I haven't added full CRUD for each article yet. It's how it works. But yeah, I can absolutely imagine like any of those big projects, like working on Docker, working on Node, working on Rust, like any of those things is like, okay, we're going to change one little thing. And it's like millions of people are going to use it, which is both humbling, but also like, that's something to be proud of. Okay, so after close, we're good there. Okay. Share code with a Docker container. All right. Next up, expose ports between host and container. Let's see. I wonder if this is going to work. I should probably test this again. I think it should work. All right. I guess as part of the video, if it doesn't work live, then I have to redo some of it. Okay, so expose ports between host and container. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to expose a port between a Docker container and your computer. Content. We have a container with the Express CRUD available in it. We can run the application using the command npm start. However, there is a problem. While the program will run, we won't be able to connect to it since it's running inside the container. As far as we're concerned, it's as if it's running on a completely different computer. We can fix this by recreating the container, but this time mapping a port from our host machine to the container. We will need to remove the one we have since we can only map the ports when creating the container. So we do that. Oh, I'm constantly removing this. Okay. Now we're ready to create the container again, this time with the port mapping. We'll use the -p host port container port command. And then I do put in like 3020, so like a different port. I remember in like a previous course that we did, I was always just having everybody use 3000, and then there's some people, there was like some people and then me too. Like it happened to me. It was like I already had something on 3000 and like for some reason it didn't cause problems and allowed two services to run on the same port. which normally should not work, but like every once in a while, the operating system, so like, yeah, that's cool. Go ahead, run on there. And then it routed to the wrong port or wrong service. Okay. We are now able to connect to the app on port 3020 from our computer. In this case, the port in the container that we're expecting the Express app to connect to is port 3000. This would allow us to run multiple containers of the same app, each of them connecting to a different port on our host system. However, we have a problem. The app isn't running on port 3000, it's running on port undefined. We'll fix this in the next lesson. Oh, right, because environment variables. That was the next thing, environment variables. Okay. So actually I don't need, it doesn't matter. It's just running. But we can use the dash ps command or docker ps to sort of see it. All right, so basically I don't need to worry about it running or not yet. Did I run spell check? I think I did, right? Okay, so we have you up and running. This is great. I'm going to quit out of you. Okay, and you go straight into here. All right. Let's do this. Recording time. We're now able to run our code inside of the Docker container and update it from outside the Docker container. But what about ports? Because this is a server and we're going to want to connect to it with our browser, or at the very least use something like Postman or Thunder Client to hit our API to see if it's working. And we can't do that if there's no connection. So we need to somehow mount a port from our system to the container. And we can do that with the -p command. Let's go ahead and recreate a new container again. We'll do the same -v mount, but we're going to add in the -p to map a port from our, well, host system to the container itself. Let's set that up. So we're going to do docker run. We're going to do IT so I can, connect inside of it. We have our volume mount, so we're going to mount local to pwd. No, local to /code. What was I thinking? Okay, so mount the current directory into /code, and then the new thing here is port. Now I happen to know that the port that this application runs on is port 3000. So I could absolutely just write 3000 and then on our host system and map it to port 3000 inside of the container. But I'm not limited to that because I can set whatever the port is on my host system to whatever I want. So for example, I can set port 3020 on our host system to port 3000 in the container. And this is wonderful because this means I can actually run this same backend app in multiple containers at the exact same time. Let's say I want to test it in Node.js 20 and then Node.js 22. I can run them both at the same time, run tests on them, make sure that they're working the way we want them to, and all I have to do is set them to be different ports to, as I'm testing them out. So I can have like 3020 and 3021. And at the very end, we're going to run this on the image node 20 and we'll go to bin bash. Okay, and this now grabs. We could still run our command here. So if we cd into /code. Now, even though this is a brand new container that we spun up from the image, we don't have to run npm install again because we had already run it previously. And remember that affected the disk drive outside of the container itself, like on our host system. So everything is just still here ready to be run. So I can now do npm start, for example, and it starts our application. There is a problem, which is the server is listening to port undefined. So I can't actually hit this yet to validate that the port is running. That will have to come in a future lesson. But let's go ahead and open up another terminal here. We're going to run docker ps. And oh, that's a lovely. Let's make that smaller. I'll make this a little bit smaller so we can see it a little bit easier. We can see here for our Inspiring Hamilton container that we created, our port 3020 on our host system is mapped to port 3000 internally. Compare that with our Postgres container that's still running, which just shows this port 5432. Our host system cannot connect to this 5432. It's just telling us that that port is like available and ready to use. And that's it. We're ready to connect, but we can't yet. We'll fix that in a future lesson. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye. All right. So let's see. This is good. I don't need you anymore. Connect out of there. Okay. You love the content? Thank you. I hope that it's helpful. At least with like getting people up and started with Docker. I know that there's some people that get really like overwhelmed with Docker. It's scary, right? And I don't think it deserves the scary reputation. And it enables so much. All right, ad break starting in about a minute. That'll be a 3-minute ad break, but we can work through that. But this might be the last break because my voice is getting tired. And I can feel my brain start to get tired from like all the talking and like thinking about this too. So we'll see how many more we get through before the end of the stream. In the meantime, I am going to continue working through these. Ooh, experse. Let's do one for that one. Oh, that one has a new line broken. Okay, so that's good to know. Oh, 2 of them are broken there. All right. Environment variables in Docker containers. Objectives. Add an environment variable to a Docker container. Content. Environment variables are a great way to add context-dependent data to our applications. For example, when developing, we might want to run the application on port 3000, but in production run it on port 4000. We don't want to hard code these values in, so making them available as environment variables is one of the best ways to go. Without Docker, our choices for setting environment variables are limited. We can manually add them to our shell or the .rc profile, but will those be available to every project we run in that shell? Oh, but those will be available to every project we run in that shell. .env files that get loaded at runtime are very popular, and as of writing this article, Node.js no longer requires a special library to load the environment variables from a file. However, with Docker, we don't need to have either. We can set the variables, we set the environment variables. When we create the container with the -e name equals value option. If we want to have multiple variables, we can use multiple -e options. Let's add in a port environment variable for the Express CRUD app so it knows what port to use to start. Again, we can only add these environment variables when we create the container. So if we have one running already, we'll need to stop and remove it. Okay, so we then Docker run, we do everything the same, but now we have port equals 3000, okay. We can now query the health check route for this app from our, where was the other, we saw two problems. It was right here, okay. We can now query the health check route for this app from our host computer and see it respond. And so that was one problem. Okay, there we go. That was the two problems there. Oh, no, this one too. I don't, okay. Slash, okay, so they're just three selections. Okay, that that did not do what I wanted to. Okay, let's try this again. I want to search for maybe $. Oh, I could do close. $, space. Close $, 3 selections. Okay, that works. So then you go to the beginning. There it goes. That's a lot better looking. Okay, so now we can query the health check route for this app from our host computer and see it respond. Excellent. So this should work now. All right, so we are going to recreate our container again, but with the environment variable now. XOR, thank you so much for stopping by and the help. And thank you again for helping out with the Docker project. And have a great rest of your day. All right, let's record this. Environment variables in Docker containers. In the previous lesson, we got set up with running the server and exposing the port, but we have a problem. The the server is trying to run on port undefined, which obviously is not a valid port. We need to tell it to run on some port that we want to run it on, which the application is looking for in an environment variable. Now, there's a few different ways for us to set up environment variables. We can set up like a .env file and then tell Node.js to read from the .env file, which it can do natively. We don't need any kind of application for that. However, we can also just set up an environment variable because this is Docker. We have the ability to set that up when we create the container and then have that environment variable just be there. And we don't have to make any code changes. We don't have to change the package.json of how Node.js starts the application. It just is there and ready for us to go, which is the way I would prefer to do that. So let's go ahead and we're going to restart. We're going to recreate the container again. So I'm going to just do an up arrow here where we have our previous Docker run. We're going to come here before we run the image itself, and we're going to add in our new command, which in this case is going to be -e for environment variable, and then it's going to be key value. Now, I happen to know that the port environment variable is, well, just all uppercase port. So PORT equals, and then it's looking for a number of some kind. Well, we've already set up that we're looking for port 3000. Obviously, this is us setting this up. We can set this up to be whatever value we want. So I'm just going to say port 3000 here. And that's it. That's the only change I need to make. And now this Docker container should properly listen to the correct port. So we're going to cd into /code again. We're going to run npm start. And it's now server listening on port 3000. So it has access to that environment variable. Let's go ahead and open up a new shell here, and we can now hit the health check. Because if we remember, we are exposing port 3020 on our local system into port 3000 in the container. So I should be able to hit... We're going to do a curl. HTTP curl does a get by default, and the health check is a get. So HTTP localhost port 3020 health check, and we get this back. Status, I am healthy. So we're now able to connect into the container from outside of it and access our API that's running inside of there, which is excellent. This is pretty much one of the last things we need to do to actually be able to run our code in there and then use it. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. All right. Set the working directory when running a container. Oh, right. We can do that. Okay. I also see a bunch of these code things. I want to get rid of those too. Seven selections. That looks like the right ones. Okay. All right. I think we're good there. This is set working directory. Okay. Let's see, if I reload, I kind of don't think I had anything else special in there. I think we're good to go. All right. Set the working directory for a Docker container. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to set the default directory when running a Docker container. Content. So far, we've been running the Docker containers in interactive mode, but this is taking up a terminal window. We already know how to run a container in daemon mode, but we need to run the npm start command in the /code directory in the container when it launches. We can easily run the npm start command by replacing the /bin bash when creating a container, but we wouldn't be in the correct directory. However, we can tell Docker which directory to use by default with the -w option. So then we do that. And then we can just immediately go straight to the curl. This allows us to switch to -d for daemon mode and run the code whenever the container starts. We've added a command in a package.json which will auto restart the server when the code is saved. We can run it with the command npm run dev. At this point, we could continue working on an application and we wouldn't need to manually remove and recreate the container. All right, perfect. We're getting to that part where like really cool stuff. And oh, I guess it's all been cool stuff, but like truly like now you can just start deving and you're not getting annoyed by Docker anymore, hopefully. I did escape as if I was going to do a :w. Okay, so we're going to do that. I don't need this terminal up anymore. So we're just going to run this again. But this time we're going to make that change. So it's -w for working directory of where to go and then npm run start. Got it. Let's do this. We're almost ready to begin developing, well, if we were developing on this project, for real inside the container. However, there's a few things that make this really annoying as a developer. For instance, every time that we make a change, we need to switch over to our terminal, stop the server, and restart it again. Now, there are some commands to automatically restart the server for us, but what if we wanted to run that straight when we create the container and not have to recreate the container, not even have it take up a terminal? What if we wanted to run it in daemon mode? Well, we can do that, but there's a few different problems. Let's first set up what we want to do and then update the command so it actually just works. So I did up arrow. We see the command we want to do. Now, instead, I don't want to do this bin bash. What I really want to do is the npm run dev. Now, there's a script in the package.json command that will, when we run this, automatically restart the server every single time we make a code change. The problem being that I have to cd into the /code directory inside the container in order to run this. And we know from having connected into it that we can't do that. We start in /. So we can use the the -w option here to set the working directory, which is going to be the default directory that whatever this command is afterwards runs in. So let's do that now. We're going to do -w/code. And now this npm run dev command is going to run inside of the code directory, which is perfect, which means I don't need to run this -it anymore. Now this can be -d for daemon mode. Let's go ahead and try this out. So I hit return. Our application, our container is now running. There's the ID for it. And I should be able to hit the health check again. So we're going to do our curl command again. Curl HTTP localhost port 3020. Go to the health check, and there it is. I am healthy. Now, what I could do is come into our code. Let's find app.js. And here is that I am healthy message that we get for the health check route. I'm just going to add in a few exclamation points, hit save, and hit our curl again. And there we go. We see I am healthy exclamation points. So at this point in time, I could now develop on this app. I can just continue working on it. We can do bug fixes, whatever we want to do, and then just immediately use it. I don't have to worry about restarting the app or anything else. It just does it for us in the container behind the scenes, which is kind of where we want to be when it comes to developing inside of a container. And that's it. That's all we were showing in this this lesson. Hopefully it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hungry Bear Dev, hello. How are you doing today? We're doing video recordings today. So when I'm in the middle of that, that's why I couldn't say hi. All right, so to you. Oh, viewing Docker container logs. Nice. All right. I guess like view logs, view Docker container logs. I don't think there's anything else. So it's 11 selections, but I think, oh no, I have more stuff. So I want maybe the $sign to 3 selections. That looks a lot more appropriate. Ooh. which gets us more information. Okay. From the connects. I think that's, go ahead and add that to mine. All right, there we go. Viewing Docker container logs. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to view Docker container logs. Content. Over the previous lessons, we've set up the Express CRUD project inside a Docker container as if we were going to develop it. And everything seems to be working so far. But we're going to run into a problem as soon as we attempt to hit a route other than the health check. So I attempt to then curl into the get tasks, unable to acquire a connection. When we attempt to get all the tasks, we get this unhelpful error in response. There might be a better error in the logs themselves, but those are console.logged out, which we can't see since the container is running in daemon mode. We can see them by running the docker logs command. So docker logs, we go into the thing. While the message is the same, we can see the stack trace, which gives us a bit more information. The error is coming from the connects library and is complaining about not being able to acquire a connection to a Postgres database. We don't have a Postgres database, which would explain why the app is unable to connect to one. If we want to watch logs as they come in, we can use the docker logs-f option to follow the logs. This is a live view, so as this is a live view. This is a live view. As more logs are written, we'll see them immediately. In the next lesson, we'll create a Postgres container and connect it to the node container running our app. So that everything can work as expected. Okay, excellent. All right, I think the next one is going to be really long. So I think this is going to be our last one for today because my throat is starting to feel it, and I also feel myself getting tired, especially like with I'm noticing I'm writing things wrong. So that'll be good. But I think we did a lot today. Okay, so we're gonna leave. Okay, this container can keep up and running, and we'll continue on with what it is right now. So this will be good. So let me just update you. And I think we're good to go here. We're just going to do Docker logs. For this application, I have a whole bunch. Oh, we only have that one up and running, so that'll be fine. Okay. Do make you small enough that you can see. Okay. That I can see at least. All right. There. That'll be good. Okay. So just logs. Oh, and I want to go to curl localhost 3020 tasks. Excellent. All right, let's do this. Last recording of the day. So far, we've got ourselves set up so we can start developing on our application. But what happens if we need to view the logs? Let's go ahead and set ourselves up in a situation where we kind of need to. So in this case, we still have our container running in daemon mode. It's auto restarting whenever the application changes. Let's go ahead and hit it with a route that should do something, but it's gonna fail. So we're gonna do a curl to HTTP localhost 3020 tasks. And we get this not super helpful error. So error unable to acquire a connection. What does that exactly mean? Well, maybe there's a little bit more information in the logs themselves. And now in this case, the application is console logging to standard out or standard error. I believe in this case it's standard error, but we can't see them here because our container is running in daemon mode. There's just, it's going to something. But we can connect to the container and look at the logs with the docker logs command. So we'll do docker logs. Now, the problem is we need to know which container it is. So we first need to do our docker ps and see that our Node.js image is currently named Serene Pair. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that and do docker logs Serene Pair. And we can see here's our problem. Unable to acquire connection, client PG. Okay, so this is going to connects. Okay, this is connects is attempting to connect to a PG or Postgres database and is unable to. Well, it's probably unable to because we haven't actually set up a Postgres database to connect to the Docker container. So there is no database for it to connect to. That would kind of make sense. Now we can also set up, like if we want to follow the logs, like let's say, we want to try this again just to make sure that that's really the problem. I'm going to do docker logs -f for follow. And now it's taken over our terminal and this will auto update. So I'm going to hit return a few times. That way there's a gap. Let's open up another terminal window over here, and I'm going to use our curl command for, let's see, 3020 to tasks again. And we see, okay, there's our logs immediately print out again. We know exactly that, well, we now know exactly that this is what's causing the problem, and we can recreate it whenever we want. So that's very helpful. Now, for solving the problem of connecting in, we're going to do that in a future video. So with that, but this is how we can actually, connect in and view the logs. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. All right. And that's it. I just tried a -D to go down, but that just goes down. It's not like actually closing a container, so I'm definitely tired. I lasted for 5.5 hours on this stream, which I think is pretty good. And we got more than halfway done. Look at all these videos we did. So all of the getting set up with Docker and almost halfway through deving with Docker. So coming up next time, which is going to be tomorrow, because we're done with our TIS 100. So we're now going to be doing just more Docker stuff tomorrow. Connect to, let's see, we're going to connect them with the network. So we're going to create the Postgres container. We're going to add it to a network. We're going to put it on there, and then everything is going to work then. So our application is finally going to work starting with the next lesson. We're going to have persistence. We're going to have data volume stuff. Then we're going to get into Docker files. So fun stuff. It's going to get more complicated starting next time. Kesor, hello, how are you doing today? But after TIS 100, don't you need to finish Exapunks first before you start actual work? Yeah. I actually don't own Exapunks, but it's on my list now. But yeah, I have a list of like 6 games to like play as part of the stream. I know, you want it. The plan, so here's my idea of like what we do. I start a project, a course, and a game all at the same time, and they're different. Or maybe I don't know. That's what we did this last time. And then as each one finishes, just the other days like sort of jump on to do them all together. I don't know if I'm going to do that next time. Like I might just do like, you know, first 2 days and then the game, or maybe just all 3 days we do as the game. I'm not sure. But it'll be fun. I don't know if Exapunks will be next. What I'll probably do is roll random dice or whatever and choose which one. I know. I do want it. I do want to play a game. It'll be fun. But I also want to get a course out. So it's, you know, one of those two things. Okay, so you're good. Let's go ahead and quit out. We did. Look at all these things we updated. That's awesome. Okay, so that's pushed up. I did not finish Shenzhen.io. I played Shenzhen.io. Did I play that on stream? I don't even remember if I did play it on stream. Did I even upload it to my channel? I don't know. No, I did not. I think I may have played it on stream, but then I didn't upload it. I didn't archive it. So I think it's just gone forever and no evidence that I ever did that. And probably with, let's see, these are more recent ones. Do I have like the really old ones? No, I didn't do the original TAS and the original Shenzhen.io gameplay stayed on Twitch and probably just auto-deleted after a while. There's no evidence that I've ever touched them in the past. It's going to be completely blind when we eventually go through it and do it in the future. So that'll be fun. Ooh, Zachtronics is releasing a couple new games soonish. Ooh. They haven't done anything in a while, have they? So that'll be fun. We should take a look at those when they come out. Assuming they're following the same pattern. Okay. That being said, I think we're done here. I'm going to keep the recording videos Nightbot mod auto message on because tomorrow we're going to be doing more video recordings for Docker. Last call BBS. Oh, it's going to be a virtual BBS. That's going to be interesting where we're like dialing into a BBS and doing something. There's so many interesting things that can go. My immediate idea is to think of the Hackers game, which I forget what that was called. That one is already released. There was another one. Okay. I haven't played very many of their games. I have played like TIS 100, a little bit of Shenzhen, a little bit of Pharma, maybe one other. But I've never, like, TS is the only one I finished. So I want to get more games finished. That'd be, again, more fun stuff. But work first. Okay, so Molex Syntax. Syntez. Well, I haven't even heard of that one at all. That's the new one that's coming out soon. I wonder what that one's going to be about. It will, we will save that for when they release. Nope, that's also 2019. Okay. It's about chemistry. Well, Pharma was about chemistry too, but it's, yeah, interesting. We'll have to, well, all more things that we can check out when we get to them. That being said, I am tired. My voice is tired. I want to stop talking and like rest my brain. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for a day. Thank you everybody for hanging out. We went through a lot of videos today, and I don't know if we're going to finish all the videos tomorrow because they're certainly going to get more complicated and longer, but I would guess that we're going to get, if not all of them, a pretty good chunk of them, hopefully. And then I could imagine that we're done with like the recording of the course next week, by the end of next week. So that being said, I hope that you all have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you next time, whenever that is. Have a good one, and bye.